Well, hello. Hey, Jennifer. Hi, Wendy. Okay, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes here for people to jump on, and then we'll get started. We have lots of ground to cover today. I'm not really sure how I'm going to pull this off, but I may not be able to get the whole thing completed, during the demo time, but each individual step will get covered. So that you shouldn't have any difficulty should you be putting a kit together yourself. I've got crazy hair again. See, it's sticking up here. Oh well. All right. Let's see here. The basics are fine. Good. Good. I think we'll go a little bit beyond that, but that way, for those of you who got kits, you can replay this if you need to, and it should cover everything fairly well, at least. And you can always ask me questions. You can message me, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Hi, Diane. Good afternoon to you. Okay. All right. Well, we've got people coming on, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. So today we're doing the Gemstone Trio set, and that is these three pieces, well, actually four if you count both earrings, the bracelet, the pendant, and earrings. And some of you have purchased kits, and that includes everything that you see here, all the stones, the bezel cups, the chain, the jump rings, the ear findings, ear wires, all that stuff is included in the kit. So for those of you who got those, now that you're seeing the video, if you want to get started, you certainly can. I don't know if this is going to be something that you can actually work along with me today, but at least, we'll take it step by step. And like I said before, you can always replay the video and, keep up in that way. Hello, Deb. Hi, Lynn. Okay. All right. So this is kind of a fun, it's pretty. It can be, well, I don't know if you could call it dressy since it's in copper, although you could put it in silver. You could do it that way and it would be a lot dressier, I think. But this is good with jeans or whatever, casual wear. I think it's kind of fun, and it's got real gemstones in it. So, it's very pretty. Here's the pendant. This is an Amazonite, an 8mm Amazonite stone in there. And the earrings have the Amazonite stones in here as well. On the bracelet, we have a combination of stones. We have an opal, an amethyst, a salmon coral, another Amazonite in the center, and malachite, and denim lapis, and black onyx on there. So there's a nice variety of stones. It's colorful and pretty. Hey, Tammy. Glad you could join. Okay, so what this entails is a lot of disc cutting and shaping, dapping. I will go ahead and start going through the steps. Let me set this aside. Although I may want this for reference, so I won't put it too far out of my reach. Okay, the handout for today is pretty big. It's got quite a few pages, and it's got all the steps printed up as well, and all the materials. It also has a materials list. If you bought a kit, all these items should be in your kit. I think the only thing I didn't put by my side is that pencil for applying the gemstones, which for you guys that got the kits, you know, I stuck in one of those wax pencils to help pick up the gems and, excuse me, and place them in the bezel cups, but it doesn't work all that well. Hang on just a sec here. Oh, now I don't even know what I did with them. Oh, okay. Well, I can do without it. It figures. Always something missing. Okay, so what you're going to need, if you don't have a kit, you're going to need discs in different sizes. And for the bracelet, I use these are 3/4 inch discs here. I'll have 4 of them, and a 7/8 disc for the center disc, and then I have a 5/8 inch disc. And I guess I must have used one on one of my samples. Okay, hang on just a sec. As organized as I try to be, it seems like I'm always forgetting something. But everything is close by, so that's good. All right. I need another 5/8 inch disc. I try to make these ahead of time so that I have some in reserve, but sometimes I end up using them and then I forget to replace them. But it's all good. I've got some here. Okay. So yeah, there's a variety, and you don't have to write any of this stuff down because it will be in the handout, you know, all the sizes and the amounts. Hi, Sonny. Glad you made it. Okay, so then I was saying you need 2 5/8 inch discs here. And then for the centers, I'm using a 7/16 in those two, and then a 1/2 inch in the rest of them. Okay, so those are our parts. Those are our parts for the bracelet. Okay, and for the earrings, we're using 2 7/8 inch discs, like the one in the center of the bracelet, and then 2, I guess I'm using 5/8 inch discs for the centers, which is fine. They could either be the 5/8 or they can be 1/2 inch. That really doesn't make that much difference. Okay, what did I use in my samples? Let me see here. No, I guess I used the 5/8 inch on the samples, but it doesn't really matter as long as you have 2 different sizes that will nest, a size that will nest inside the other one. Okay, and then for the pendant, I am using a 1 1/4 inch disc because that's the size that I have in my disc cutter. And then I'm going to use a 7/8 for the cup inside on the pendant. Okay, so those are those materials. And then in your kits, for those who got them, they will have the correct amount of stones and bezel cups for each unit in here. And I think I put in a couple extra things just in case you dropped them or something, you know, you can't find them. Sometimes things get away from you. So I put a couple extra things in there. Okay, so those are your copper discs. I used my Peppy disc cutter, my old one. You've seen this before. The new ones are round, but they still have all the same amount of holes in there. But the largest is, I think it's a 1-inch disc. Yeah, it's a 1-inch disc on this side. But I also have a Swanstrom disc cutter that has the larger 1 1/4 inch for a disc. But if you have a pancake die with a circle in it, you can use that also for your center. Hey, Ruth Ann. Okay, so those are the disc cutters. So I'm going to start off by just cutting a few discs for the sake of those who are new to this. Just kind of move those out of the way. I like to put my disc cutter on top of a bench block, on top of a rubber pad that kind of absorbs some of the shock, and my brass hammer. And let's see here. I also, just for storage, just in case you guys are looking for storage solutions, I keep my disc cutter in one of these containers. I don't know if it's got a brand name on it, but I think I got this at Joann's. Snapware. It's called Snapware. And this, it fits really nice. It's portable, easy to take with you. And it fits this unit real well. For my Swanstrom, it's a little bit deeper, so I bought a deeper, taller box, and that seems to work out real well. But I like to keep my metal things like this in an well, it's not really airtight, but it's close. It's protected at least, and then I put some of these desiccant little envelopes that you get inside of purses and different things, shoes maybe sometimes, that try to help absorb any moisture. So I keep those inside the box when I am not using the tool. So that's kind of a handy tip to know about. All right, so if at any time you guys have questions or comments, please go ahead and feel free to post them. And I will check as often as possible. And I am using 22 gauge for most of the metal. The pendant could easily be 20 gauge, but whatever you have is fine. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that, but I think 24 is too thin for any of this stuff. But 22 is good weight, and 20 is also a good weight, so that's entirely up to you. All right, and then I have already some patterned copper sheet that I ran through the rolling mill, so they all have patterns on there. Now, you don't have to have a pattern on your discs if you don't want to, or you could stamp them with metal stamps and put some little designs in there if you wanted to do that. But in mine, I've textured them all, but I've used a variety of different shapes. So they're all kind of mix and match. And truthfully, it really doesn't matter, at least not to me, because you can't really tell what most of the patterns are anyway when you look at the bracelet, but you do see the texture in there, and I think that's nice. So I've just kind of mixed a variety. But you could make them all the same if you wanted. I mean, that's just a design choice that's entirely up to you. So it's just an idea. Okay? All right. So I'm just going to cut a few discs just so that you see what I'm talking about for those that don't know. And I am going to use let's see, these little sunflowers. When they have patina on them, they're really, really pretty. I think this is one of Roberta Peel's impression, rolling mill impression plates. All right. So when you're using, let's see here, I will cut 7/8 and 3/4. When I cut these, I always put the impression, the good side down, and cut from the back side of the sheet because it makes a little lip or a little burr sometimes, and it's easier to sand it off the back. So I just put my design face down in whatever size hole I choose to use, and then I'm going to put the same piece, just a scrap piece, on the other side just to balance the disc cutter. All right, and the disc cutter has the cutting edge right here, and then generally the other edge is just like, well, on these they're black. I think the Swanstroms are all, they're all the same metal on there, but there's a definite cutting edge, and then there is the hitting edge on the top, which has got a little bit of a bevel on there. You want to make sure that you put the cutting edge down, okay? Because if you accidentally reverse it, first of all, you're going to get it jammed in your cutter, and it's not going to cut through because there's no cutting edge on here. So it's going to be more like a bottle cap, but it's going to be stuck, and you won't be happy. You can really ruin your disc cutters if you don't put them in properly. So also a little bit of lube is good to put on here, and that is not close by, but I would just run this on the cut lube around the edge a little bit, and then I would put it in the proper hole here. So I'm going to just use my hammer. This is going to be loud. My disc comes out the bottom. Sometimes the little punch doesn't go through on its own, and you can just tap it out and just slip that out. And I have my pattern on this side, and then I'm going to take my sanding stick and I'm going to just file the edges just a little bit with my sanding stick. It shouldn't need much at all. Okay, so that's one. And then let's make a 3/4 inch. I think that's this one, yep. All right, I'm gonna try to line this up so that I utilize my designed copper and not have a lot of waste. And once you feel that it's broken through, quit pounding, because what happens if you keep hitting, you're going to make a spot on your disc down here that's going to be, well, I don't know, just hammered too much. You can put like a dent kind of in there, so you don't want to do that. Once you feel that it's broken through, you're done. Let's sand that edge. Okay. All right, so I've got my two sizes here, but you would keep doing this if you were going to cut all your own dies or discs. You would just keep on making all the different sizes, but I just for explanation purposes, I wanted to show you how you punch a disc if you aren't aware of that. All right, so I'm going to put these back where they belong. And I see I have couple of questions. Jennifer says she keeps her disc cutters in bins too, and that's a really good idea to keep them nice. Sunny, yeah, I generally do lube them. I've got that kind of far away from me, so I wasn't getting up, and I was only cutting a couple. But yes, you should lube these edges of the punches when you use them to keep these in good shape. Okay. All right. It doesn't take too much strength, too much force to knock those through. If I was using a heavier, thicker metal, yeah, it would take a little bit more work. So, okay. Oh my god! Oh my gosh, Jennifer, you pounded that through into the table. Yeah, stuff can happen. It certainly can happen. Okay, so then the next thing, that's how we all learn, isn't it? We all learn by doing. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to dome my discs. And I have one of these little metal doming blocks, which is wonderful. Everybody should have one of these. You should all have one of these, and you should all have one of these. And there's one that's just slightly larger than this, and then there's a big mama one that's is really nice. But to get really nice cupped beads or discs, you need to have the metal one. The wooden one, when you get the set, it has two little punches and these wells are not very deep. Okay, so they just don't work quite as well. However, they are nice if you just want a gentle dap or gentle curve to your piece. So there's use for all of these things. Okay, so I am going to grab a drink here. Wet my whistle a little bit. And I also I've got the metal punches or daps or whatever I don't ever know what to call some of this stuff. But I've got the metal ones that I bought with my kit. I got my metal set from Harbor Freight. And I believe they still have these. And I think they were around $50 for this and all the dapping punches. But I think it was Eurotool that came out with these Delrin punches, and I wanted to try them out. So these are relatively new to me, and so far I'm liking them. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, where did I put my pieces? Oh, under here. Okay, so then you want to find the well. I call these wells. There might be a better name for them. But you want to find the size that's most close to your piece. This is still a little bit bigger, but I don't want like a super cup on these, just kind of a little bit better than what I would consider a gentle curve, but not a real, like a bowl or a half a bowl or whatever. And I'm going to put my design side up because that's the way the bracelet's going to be oriented. The curve is going up as a cup as opposed to going the other way. So then I'm going to find the punch that fits in here best. Now I'm doing this before I put the holes in, okay? And I'm going to show you why. So I'm going to dap this. And that's about the curve that I want. I'm going to do that. You see that? It's not a huge bowl or anything. It's just, it's a shallow cup. Okay? So I want that like that. This one I can put in a little bit smaller. Design side up. This punch is too big for this one. So I'm going to go down to the next one. Okay. All right, so I've got those two. Now I want to make the little cups that are going to sit inside. So I'm going to take my 1/2 inch disc, you should always try to get the right size punch for the bowl that you're using, or well. So that's going to fit inside there. All right. And then I need another one to fit inside this one. If I wanted to make this more cupped, then I would go down in the size of the wells and use the smaller punches to make more of a cupped shape. You can just go from well to well and use a smaller. I'm doing this one a little bit more so you can see it. If you were going to make metal beads like the Native American pearls that they call them, you would use 2 halves, but you would want, so you could do it like that, and then you'd solder around. We're not doing that today. I'm just saying that you could make those, and you might want them a little bit more cupped. That was my point of showing you that. That was too big. Okay. So now you could make the inside discs a little bit larger. However, you have to keep in mind that you need a hole punched on either side to connect these, as your links. So the only ones that you only need one hole in is for the earrings and for the pendant, unless you decide you want to hang something else, and then you would put 2 holes in there. Okay, so using these little 1/2 inch discs gives me just enough room on either side of the inside cup to make those holes. Now, I do the cupping part before I make the holes, because if you put the holes in first and then do your dapping, you ruin your holes. And I don't know if you can see this close up enough, but this is a piece that I dapped just to show you what happens to the holes if you pre-punch the holes and then you dap. They get squeezed, and they squeeze the metal there, and they look funky, and then the jump rings don't fit well. So you want to punch your holes after you do the dapping. Okay. All right. So to do that, I use my little grid on my table mat here a lot because of the lines, the cross lines. And I'm not one for lining everything up real well, not real well, but to take the time of measuring and all that stuff. I eyeball a lot of my work. And sometimes I do real good and sometimes not, and that's the price you pay when you do it that way. But I put my piece in the cross section here and mark a line or a dot where I want my hole to be. Now that's on the inside, but I actually have to make my hole, yeah, I have to make my hole this way. You don't want to get too far into your disc, otherwise the little bowl is not gonna, it'll fit, but you won't get your jump ring on there, okay? So I'm using, for these, it's just easier for me to maneuver with these on this project. This is the 1.8 millimeter punching plier, hole punch plier, okay? So I don't want to get too close to the edge, but close enough. You just don't want to break through the copper. Give it a squeeze. And do the other end, the other side. Okay. Now, you're going to have a little bit of roughness where you punched your hole. So I'm going to take my sanding stick and I'm just going to sand that off. Doesn't take much. Okay, so I've got my holes in there. They look pretty good. I'll do the same with this one. And just mark it with my Sharpie. What size are you making the hole for? Marking the hole for? This is going to be for the jump ring. This is a 1.8 millimeter hole punch. And it's going to fit through my 18 gauge wire for my jump rings just fine. Hi, Mary. I'm glad you made it. Okay, so I'm going to punch these holes. It takes a little hand strength to push that through. All right. So you would do this on all your pieces, keeping in mind that the main design is you just need the one hole for the pendant, unless you wanted to hang some little dangly stuff from the bottom. But the plan for this demo is just the hole on the top, and the same with the earrings, just the hole on the top. But you could, if you like longer dangly earrings, you could certainly put a hole at the bottom as well. Okay. Hi, Dawn. Yep, you can always replay this and catch the beginning. Not too much happening so far. Sunny, I am not putting one, there's not one needed in the 1/2 inch. This is the one that's going to have the bezel cup soldered in. So you don't need a hole in that, but you just want enough clearance so that you can hook these together, your jump rings together, if you can see that. Can you see that okay? Okay. All right. Okay, so I have my holes punched. They're dapped. I'll go ahead and I'll do a pendant one as well. Like I said, I don't know. My demos are usually an hour and a half or so long. But I have a feeling we're going to run over a little bit on today's. Oh, I wanted to show you too with the sanding. I showed this last week for whatever I was demoing last week as a great way to sand. And this is especially great for small pieces that are awkward to hold on to when you sand. These are 2 acrylic blocks that people use for stamping. And it's got a heavy-duty double-stick tape that I mentioned last week. And you put that on one side, and then you double-stick tape, sandpaper on this side. And you can just put your piece stuck on there like that. And then turn it on here and sand. That will get rid of any rough edges. And the other thing that I like to do is then I turn it upside down, so the bottom is sticking out on the top, and then I will take that and sand just a small flat spot on the bottom of those discs for when I am soldering them so they stay put, so they're not rocking. So just having that little bit of a flat bottom on that inner disc is kind of nice. All right. So yeah, that, I don't know if you can see that, but it gives just a little bit of a flat spot on the bottom. So you can do that with all of your discs as well if you like. When I am not using this, there's a little plastic film that the tape comes with, and I just put that on top so that this doesn't stick to anything else and it doesn't get full of other crud. But they lose their sticky because the sandpaper, all the grit kind of fills in all that sticky part. So then occasionally you will have to swap that tape out, as well as your sandpaper, and just peel that off. You'll have to put double stick tape back on again because that kind of gets ruined. Actually, you know, I peeled it off, but if you had a what are they, like a putty knife, you know, that has that flat edge, you could just kind of scrape it off. That would be a lot easier to do that. So okay, so that's that, and I would continue on with all my pieces in that manner till they're all sanded and ready for soldering. I didn't do this one because I'm going to solder this one too. Oops. Stick that on there. And then the bottom. Okay. Okay, so I've got 2 pieces ready to solder. Well, Tammy, you read it and I didn't. Tammy says the ad on the tape specifies that the tape is washable. I will have to give that a try. That's part of the problem with being impatient like I am. I sometimes don't read everything that I should and miss out on some important little bits. All right, so this is the one for the pendant. And I am going to put this in here. You know, when they first, well, I won't say first, but years ago when they were selling these little wooden block sets, they always come with 2 pieces, and they still do. But the older sets have a punch that I really like. It's a little bit wider and flatter, just with a gentle curve on it. And I've bought lots of these wooden kits since, and none of them are like this. I don't know why they stopped doing it. One of my friend's husbands is a woodworker, and he made me a few that were very similar to this. So I'm thankful for that, but they should really, I should write to somebody, I guess. I don't know. Maybe it's not a big enough deal for them to worry about it, but I really like the size of this. Okay, so I'm going to take this, design side up, and tap. I start in the middle, and then I tap it all the way around. And these you can't make as deep as the metal, and that's okay. It's actually just fine with me, because as a pendant, I wouldn't want this cupped too much. So that works like this. Okay. Yeah, the wider ones definitely, I think, work better. Why they stopped doing that, I don't know. And it seems like it's been that way for different brands. They're all the same. All right, so now for the center of this one, I'm going to use a 7/8 inch disc for the center. And this one, I'm going to use the metal again. And maybe just a little bit more. Okay, so that's good. That works. So now I just need one hole in here, and because I'm only putting one hole, I don't have to line it up. I can just put it anywhere on here. Sand off that little burr on the back of that hole punch, from the hole punch. That's good. Okay, so I have, you guys with me so far? Okay, well, just keep asking if you need to, because I'm going to get ready to solder some things. I made a few other discs already ready to solder. Oh, I didn't sand the bottom of this. Want to do that. Okay. And these, well, I didn't file these edges, did I? Just run the sandpaper over. If you didn't see my demo that had this stick in it, these are wonderful, easy to use, and you can replace, you can buy the sandpaper strips like this to replace, or you can just buy sheets of sandpaper and cut them into strips. That's probably much more affordable, but it's nice to have. Okay, so I did that. All right, now let's see. Wipe those off a little bit. Okay, so I don't need a hole in this one because that's going to have my bezel cup in there. Hi, Suzanne, from the other side of the world. How's Australia doing today? All right, here I want to make a couple of holes. I guess you really, the first hole you don't really have to line up. It's the one that you want to meet with or match. Do that. Okay. Yeah, make sure all your edges are all nice and smooth. It only takes a minute to get that all squared away. All right, let's see here. All right, well, I think that's enough to solder for right now. All right. Okay. Now I'm going to get ready to solder. I'm using solder paste. I know a lot of people aren't fans of that, but if you take precautions, as what I mean by that is that you have ventilation. I have a fume trap that I run when I'm using the solder paste because it does fume up. It smokes a little bit. There's fumes from that. So we don't really want to be breathing that stuff. So you take good care for safety's sake that you have these things in place. If you don't have a fume trap, you should be working near a window and have a fan of some sort pulling the air out so that you're not sitting in all of that. Okay. You should also, well, you know, I wear glasses, so I don't wear safety glasses a lot, but unless I'm doing certain projects. But keep that in mind. If you don't wear glasses, you should definitely wear safety glasses. Even your glasses really aren't total protection, but it's better than not having anything on there, okay? So you want to make sure that that's safe. If you wanted to wear a mask or a respirator, I mean, that's entirely up to you. I mean, I'd say a respirator would probably be a good thing if you did not have a fan or something to exhaust if you're using the solder paste. But just for plain soldering, no, you don't have to do that. I hope I'm not missing a step here, but I guess I'll find out. All right, so I'm getting my soldering stuff set up, and hopefully you'll be able to see. I'm going to turn on the fume trap, which is right here. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully you can. I'm going to wait till I see. Good. Okay. Here's the fume trap. Okay. All right. So I'm going to have the fume trap on. It's going to be a little bit loud. Tell me if that's too annoying. I'm also turning on my little box fan. I do have an exhaust fan here in the studio, so I have that as well. But I like to run the little box fan. I point it up towards the smoke detector because sometimes with this smoky business, it will set my smoke detector off and there's no fire. So, you know, I don't want that going off while I'm soldering for you guys. Okay, all right, so I'm going to, I have medium and easy solder paste. You don't have to use solder paste. You can use wire or sheet solder. It's totally up to you what you use. I like the paste solder because it kind of acts like a glue while I'm soldering, but you know, that's totally your choice. All right, so I am going to set up well, this one I didn't sand the bottom of. There's the ones I sanded. Oh, these I soldered. Never mind. Here they are. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is take my medium solder and just take a little bit. You don't need a lot. I'm going to put that on that flat spot. And then take my tweezers and set that down in the center. Now, if you had a hummingbird holder, you could, that's one of these jobbies, you could put that in there to hold that disc down in the center, but it's really not going to go anywhere if you didn't have one, so that's optional. But these are wonderful to have for many other reasons. All right, so I'm going to put that on there. And just warm this up all over. Copper takes a lot more heat than silver does. Try to get it around the bottom a little bit. And I'm going to call that good because I can't really see, and I don't want to see, that solder line coming up. And this is hot, so I'm going to put that on my tile. Oh, I've got the solder board stuck to it. That's okay, I'll get that off. And then I'm going to quench it. Ooh, that really stuck to it, but it will come off. It's just a pain. I'll probably have to file that off. But it's on there. The cup is on there. So now I'm going to put this in the pickle. All right. I'll do another one. A little bit goes a long way, and the thing with the copper or the silver solder on the copper is you have to plate it if any of the copper or any of the silver shows up on the outside of the copper. All right, this one I'm not going to use a hummingbird with. I'm just going to show you. That fits in there real nice. Okay, so this is a bracelet link right here. Warm it up. Warm it up, and then you go in for the kill, so to say. See, it smokes a little bit. And when it gets really, it shouldn't get super red hot, but, you know, it will get a little bit. But I know that it's soldered. That moved just a tiny bit, so. Okay. So keep your solder pick handy because sometimes you might need to nudge it a little bit. And that is soldered pretty well. Okay. We'll do the pendant one now. So I've got my big disc, and I've got my hole punched in it. I've got my disc flattened a little bit on the bottom. A little bit of solder paste. This is the medium solder. Oh no, this is the easy solder. Crapola. Well, hopefully the other ones will be okay. They should be, actually, because I'll be soldering the bezel cup in there, and it should be okay, really. But I guess we'll find out. I'll do that, and then I'll check comments. I'll do this and I'll check comments. If you use your solder pick for applying the silver or the solder paste, make sure you wipe it off because you're going to transfer solder where you don't want it. Like in what I'm doing right now. I don't want any silver solder showing up on there. All right. Get my paper towels out of the way. Should have moved this over. You could also do this on a tripod. You don't have to do it on a solder board if you don't want to. You can do it where you can get the heat from below. You could do one of those wire nests that Francesca does. That's also a very good prop for these. All right, turn that off. Okay, so that's soldered on real well. Now that has to go in the pickle. Okay. Okay, let's see here. I almost picked up my torch by the nozzle. That would have been terrible. All right, bear with me a minute. Okay, those are in the pickle pot. All right. Now, because I thought a little bit ahead, I made some a little bit earlier. And pickled them. So that way we could just kind of move along. All right, let me catch up with any comments here. Sonny's asking if I ever use copper solder. I don't. I have in the past, but I don't care for it. It is not truly copper color. So when it solders, it's still a silver. So, and I don't know that it's really as strong as the silver solder. So why not just use the silver? And then I plate it, you know, which I have demonstrated on some of my other demos. And I can do that again here, but so far I'm not seeing any silver popping through, which is great, which means I didn't over use the solder paste. Okay, so when they come out of the pickle, there's like a film on there. You can use a brass brush to clean that off, or you can use a brush on your flex shaft to knock that all off. Okay. All right. So here let me get caught up here. All right. So these I had made these ahead of time, and they're soldered. Now they need to have the little bezel cups put on. Okay. Let's see here. So my answer to your question, Sonny, about the copper solder is I would not recommend it. I think it's disappointing at best. So at least in my experience. So asking if I'm soldering the 1/2 inch to the 1 inch. I only have 1 inch for the bracelet. You use whatever you have. I don't think that there's any set rule. It's just a matter of how it fits together, and if you have room for the side holes, you know, to punch your holes. But as far as the size of the discs, that's the only important thing, is that it clears the holes for the sides. They can be whatever size. And you know what else I was thinking? It came to me this morning. Too late to mess around with it, but you know the water castings that we've done in the past, and that's, you know, they've been done in the other demo groups too. These little silver water castings, these could be very fun to put in your pieces. I'm not going to do that today, but that is on my brain, that they would be really a pretty addition, or you could group them, or, you know, make a little grouping I'm just goofing around here. This is impromptu. But, you know, you could maybe put a few of those on. Because you could even put a tube setting inside of some of these if they're big enough, which would be kind of cool. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of possibilities to play with these things. That's half the fun of doing jewelry, making stuff, is just kind of experimenting with stuff. So that's just a thought. So it occurred to me this morning, and I pulled these out, and I thought, you know, I'm going to mention it because I think they could be fun with this. So, and if you haven't seen the water casting demo, it is in the files, in the file archive on our group page. So you can look that up. This is big fun. Quite addicting, actually. You see, I've got all of these things I've made, and it's like, I don't know what I'm doing with them, but I sure did have fun making them. So, okay, let's see. Let's see what else here. All right. Dawn, you asked about my torch. This I bought on Amazon a while back, and I did look it up because I do use this occasionally. But they don't make the same one like this anymore. This is a brand called Wall. It's two words, Wall Lenk, L-E-N-K. Wall, like, you know, a wall in your house. Wall Lenk. But the designs are different, so I can't say if they're as good. But in lieu of this, the butane cans that have the torch head that you can screw on, and then you have the refillable cans, you can use those. That torch is at least every bit as good as this, if not just a tad bit hotter. So, you know, that would be something to think about if you need to buy a bigger torch. If you just have like a standard creme brulee torch, like something like this, this is not really going to serve you very well for copper. It's great for silver, but not for copper. So copper requires more heat. So you need a little bit stronger, little hotter torch. Okay, so keep that in mind. That was a very good question, Dawn. All right. Yeah, the canister ones with either the canister ones I think are butane. I think that's the, let me grab mine. Okay. This is the canister one that I'm talking about. This is a can of butane that you could buy. This particular one is made by Coleman, so it's like in the camping section. You can get this in hardware stores if they have a camping section. So it's butane fuel. I know it's backwards. And then this torch head it's a removable torch head that you buy separately. You can get these on Amazon. This is a Sterno brand. Eurotool also has a brand, a torch head. So I don't know. Either one would probably be fine. They put a nice bushy flame out. They're hot. So, Nancy, the MAP gas is probably too hot for what I'm doing. I think you'd have to have real good control with your torching skills, maybe. I don't know. I don't use that for... The only MAP gas I use is when I'm doing lampwork beads. Sometimes I will use the MAP gas for that. So, but these are available and nice to have. And you don't have to refill them, and they're not expensive. So, you know, when it's empty, you just toss it and you get another can. All right. I'm not sure, Sonny, what you mean, which torch you refill it, but yeah, all torches aren't created equal, and sometimes you get a bum one. So just be careful. But honestly, I haven't had really much trouble with any of the torches. Some of the micro torches that I've had in the past, because I've got a ton of them from doing classes and providing them for the students, and some of them will wear out, I guess is what it is. They just quit working after a little while. I like this Ronson one too, but Ronson doesn't. They keep changing everything, which is really, you know, I don't like that. It's like when you find something that you like, you want to be able to recommend it and maybe buy another one. But they keep changing the models, and I don't know. If I haven't tested it, I can't tell you for sure if it's going to be a good one or not. But I do my best with keeping up with some of this stuff, but sometimes it gets beyond you. The wall length torch. Oh, that one went in the garbage can. Hello. Is yours just like this one, or was it a newer model, Sonny? But yeah, I mean, if you notice something like that, send it back, you know, and, you know, they should make it good with you. So, all right. So I've got a couple of these out of the pickle, and it's time to put on the bezel cups. All right, so these have been soldered. They've been cleaned. No, a rough clean, just enough so that I can solder the bezel cups on. I've got my 4mm bezel cup that I'm going to put in this particular one. So what I did here was I made a unit, a bracelet unit, like the sample. This is the little bit larger one, and then this is the smaller one on the two ends. And I only did this because of the fit. I wanted to make sure that it fit me, and I wanted it to be symmetrical, you know, have an even amount of the sized cups on here, the depth cups. But with yours, you can do whatever you want. You can make them all one size. I mean, if you didn't buy a kit, you have an option to make them, excuse me, however you want. So anyway, I'm going to do one of each. I'm going to do an earring, and then I'm going to do a pendant. So that way you can see how all of them are made. I mean, it's basically the same thing over and over again, but I think it helps to see it. All right, so I'm going to use the easy solder now. What did I do with my solder pick? Here it is. And get a tiny bit of solder of the easy solder paste. I'm going to turn my fume trap back on. Get my paper towels out of the way so I don't start a fire. These are so tiny. And there are smaller ones than this. I just put a little dab of that on the bottom. And then I'm going to grab my tweezers, turn it over, and place it. Whoop. Okay, I'm going to wipe off my solder pick. have my heat everything up. Okay, I can see the solder flow right around there. That's getting really, you know, awful hot right there. When it starts to turn red, you really want to be careful that you don't fry, as in melt your piece. Cool off my solder pick. I quench that right away so I don't make a mistake and grab it. I have my utility pliers here to pick this up. I'm going to quench this and put this in the pickle. Well, I'll wait till I put the other one in. Okay. All right, where's the other piece? Hello, where are you? How do I lose things when I just had them in front of my face? It's beyond me. It's because I have too much crap laying around. Goodbye. Oh, never mind. It's right here. All right. Tweezers. Set that down there. Okay. There's the other tweezers. Oh, I know what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to solder another bezel cup. I'll tell you, this brain of mine. Okay, get this. Oh no! Oh my God! I dropped it in my garbage can. Phew! Well, that's gonna stink. Actually, I'm glad my garbage can was there. Hey, it's not a video from me unless there's some dilemma, some disaster. Let's hope that doesn't catch my basket on fire. Hey, this house burned down once already. Don't need it to happen again. Not my fault, though. Okay. Okay, that's on well. Put these in the pickle. And check this other. All right. Murphy always visits me whether I want it or not, Cynthia. Hello, by the way. So yeah, I've been busy. I made a lot of these. All right. Okay. So You saw me set a bezel cup or two. I could swear I had another one to put a bezel cup in, but maybe not. Did I do that? Okay. All right. So I think what I'll do is, I hope you're getting the gist of me soldering these little pieces on. These two still need bezel cups in here, but they need to be cleaned up a bit. So I'm just cleaning out the inside of this cup where I want to put a bezel cup in here. I don't have to polish anything else at this point. Just the area where I want to attach the bezel cup. Okay, I'll go ahead and solder these two bezel cups on here, and then I'm going to show you about cleanup and putting the gemstones in. This is the one I was looking for before, this little one. All right, so I'm going to grab another 4mm bezel cup and my easy solder paste. A little dab will do ya. I'll date myself with that one. So I'm hoping that you guys get the gist of all of this. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I didn't wipe this off. Okay. Okay. Do you guys have any questions up to this point with the soldering, the disc making, anything at all? I'm going to go ahead. Now, what I would normally do, once I've got these all pickled and clean, I would clean them after they come out of the pickle. Okay. I think I mentioned it, I would wire brush these or clean them up with those 3M radial discs to clean them out. And then I would actually tumble them at this point before I set the stones. But if you got solder somewhere out here, you need to copper plate it. And by that, what I do is I take old pickle. Pickle will normally turn blue as it gets older. At least the pickle that I have turns blue. It has, I guess, copper molecules in the solution. And you take some of that out, and I put it like in a little glass custard cup or a mason jar, something small. Put a little bit of that old pickle in there, and I put some steel wool, just some old ratty steel wool. You can also use your steel saw blades, the broken ones. If you save those, you can kind of just snap them up in little pieces and throw those in there. They will also help you plate your metal. So, but I don't need to do that on this one. Or on any of these, actually. I got kind of lucky on these. And the key is just really not putting a whole lot of solder on there so it doesn't flow or doesn't overflow. So this is a piece that I did earlier today. This is the pendant, and it's got all the pieces soldered, the bezel cup in here, and I'm going to set the stone in here so you can see that. Okay. Yeah, Sonny, a tumbler is, to me, it's a necessity. It's just, it makes your work a lot easier. Deb, I do sleep quite a bit, in fact, but I'm a night owl. I stay up late, usually till like 2 in the morning, and then I get up around 10. But once I'm up, I'm fairly busy, but I take little breaks throughout the day. So, yeah, good shot is really important. Stainless steel shot. They sell steel shot, which gets rusty. However, when you tumble it again, the rust comes off, but it's a never-ending cycle. You have to keep it dry, really dry. The stainless steel shot is just a little bit more expensive, and it's well worth it. So, you know, I can give you recommendations on that too if you need some. But oh my gosh, Debbie, you get up at 2? Oh no, I'm not even alive. Well, like I'm alive at 2, but that's when I go to bed. Ugh. The difference in our schedules, huh? Okay, so let me clean up. I'll clean this one up with... Now for this, since I'm going to be using my my rotary tool, and this stuff is kind of flaky, so I'm going to wear my mask on there. Okay. These 3M bristle brushes are really great because they can get in between these layers pretty nice and around your bezel cup. I don't know if you can hear me with my muffled voice. But I would do this first, and then I would tumble, and then make sure they're nice and clean. And then I would set the stones, or you would patina if you wanted to put liver of sulfur on there. you do that. And then you can set the stones. I haven't had any difficulty with the stones I've been using. If I set the stones prior to the patina, it hasn't seemed to matter, but I don't use a lot of different, maybe higher quality stones. I don't know. Maybe some of them are more porous than others, but the ones that I've been using haven't had any trouble, any reaction with the liver of sulfur. My grandson will be coming over shortly. He's at summer camp during the days, and his mom went to go pick him up. So on Wednesdays he comes over here after camp, and then all chaos ensues. So I'm hoping to be done with my demo before he comes over. Oh, I see the video cut out there for a second. I hope you guys have been getting a good reception. Okay. Boy, it's hot with that thing on. Okay, so I'll give you a little bit about the setting of these. I like to work on the rubber pad. You don't have to, it's just something I do. You need a burnisher, pusher, I liked canned air a lot. It gets any little crud out. I have, this is a round file. It's a size 0. It's round. I don't know when I got it or where I got it. And maybe that's irrelevant for what I use it for. But I use it for the end, the non-pointy end, to help open my smaller bezels. The little 4mm bezels. Sometimes I like the serrated bezels a lot, and sometimes the stones don't fit in there quite perfectly, and it's not necessarily the bezel's fault. It could be, or it more than likely is because the stones haven't been calibrated properly. So even though a stone says it's 4mm, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fit properly in the bezel cup. Okay, so I have found that if I take my little round end, any skinny mandrel probably would do it. I guess I should measure that and see what the diameter of that is. And I just kind of put that in there once the bezel is soldered on. I just kind of open it up carefully. Just kind of, I put this in here and then just kind of push the walls of the bezel cup out just a little bit, so that way the stone can drop in. Now, the use in the kits that have the wax pencil in there, the idea is that you grab your gemstone, you take the tip of that wax pencil and you pick up your stone and you transport it over to your bezel cup so that it goes in the bezel cup the right way. A lot of times when you're trying to put the stone in, the stone flips over, and then you have to shake it out, you know, and having that stone just brought to you like that and put it in with the pencil is a great idea. However, I think I got crappy ones. So, because you want your stone to be in there straight, not crooked at all, okay, and the bottom flat down. That's why that little opening it like that with this file really helps it a lot. Okay, so I've got that in place. You've got a very small area to work with on here. So I'm going to take my bezel pusher and push the stone in, or push the bezel cup in at 3 o'clock, and then I turn this and I do it at 9 o'clock, and then I turn it and I do it at 12 o'clock, and then I do it at 6 o'clock. And you're alternating so that you are closing this bezel cup up properly without putting too much pressure and distortion on the bezel cup. Okay, so then I can kind of go around and hit it all over. And now I'm going to take my burnisher. This is an acrylic burnisher that I got from Flow Studios. It's called Smooth Set, and this is the smaller. There are two sizes that come in the package. These are nice. They kind of get in tight areas, and I'm just going to burnish this stone. You'll see it better when I'm working on the bigger one. It's hard to have you be able to see when I don't have a close-up camera, so you can't really get in here to see what I'm doing properly with this little 4mm, but maybe you can see better with the 8mm. You just want to make sure that you're bringing that bezel cup over the stone to hug that stone in there real well. Okay. I don't know if I explained that properly or not, but hopefully you understand. Yes, I do have, Jennifer, I do have the tube setters. I broke down and bought them a couple of months ago. They're very, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so now for the pendant, I am going to use the 8mm Amazonite stone right here. And that one just fits right in. I usually just have the trouble with the smaller stones with the bezel cups. So would they work here? They might. They actually might. I never thought to try that, but they might help in burnishing around that bezel cup. I'll try. I'll give that a shot. Okay, so now I'm gonna close in my bezel cup. So I'm gonna start again at 3 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, I'm just pushing that bezel in. At 12 o'clock, and at 6 o'clock. And then I'm going to do the other corners that are still sticking out. Push those in. Just take your time. There's no contest. Speaking of contests, that just reminded me. I think, you know, the membership for this group has really been growing, and it really makes me happy. I know not everybody watches all the demos because, you know, let's face it, not everybody has time for it. But anyway, we're like 940 some people, in the group, which is astounding to me. So I'm thinking when we hit 1,000 members, then I'll have a giveaway. And I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'm thinking I'll do some of my glasswork cabs, my lampwork cabs, for 3 to 5 people or something like that. A little variety of some different sizes. So just as an appreciation, kind of a gift. So it shouldn't be all that long. You know, I was really kind of surprised when it got to 900. So I'm thinking, oh, let's go for 1,000. But you know, you're welcome to invite any of your jewelry making friends. But if you do invite people, just make sure that they're people that are interested in this. I don't want the numbers just to have the numbers. I would like to have people that are actually interested in this. So so I'll keep you guys posted on that, because that was just something that kind of popped in my head in the last couple of days, and I was thinking that might be kind of nice and kind of fun to do. So all right, let's finish this up. All right, so I pushed the bezel all the way around, and now I'm going to use my burnisher, and I'm still pushing this in a little bit because I want to make sure that I love the serrated look of the serrated bezels. And now I'm just going to go across here and burnish. You know, Jennifer, I'm thinking, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about those tube setters, and they probably would work well as long as you could make sure you keep the pressure off of the metal below so that you don't get one of those rings scratched into the metal from the top. But I think if you could just burnish above the base of the stone, that it might work. There's really not that much to setting a stone with these little bezel cups. These make it pretty simple work. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? I think that's a beautiful pendant. I would patina this so that way it makes the color pop a little bit more when you put the liver of sulfur on there like that. And I think that's a very pretty pendant, just like that. Nothing too large, but, you know, but pretty. Actually, I'm looking at the screen, and this one doesn't look all that light, but you could leave it shiny if you like. I mean, a lot of people like shiny copper, the natural look of copper. I'm more of an antiqued kind of person. I kind of like that. Okay, so when you get all your components put together, then you're going to connect them all with jump rings. And what I did, and what's in the kit, I used 3.5 millimeter jump rings. These are 18 gauge copper wire, 3.5 millimeters, and I just hooked one link, you know, one jump ring on each side, and then I joined it with 2 in the middle like that. That gives everything nice movement. Pretty straightforward, easy to do. And then you could, you know, not everybody's the same size, you know. I mean, in truth, it just doesn't work that way. And sometimes you need to make things a little bit larger or a little bit smaller. And if you needed to make something larger, instead of these 3.5 millimeter jump rings that I use for the middle, you could go with a larger diameter jump ring to, if you put that in between each length or each link, you will increase the length of your bracelet a little bit, and it might just be enough. A lot of this stuff is trial and error as far as size goes. At least that's how it works in my world. And then if you needed it smaller, you might have to eliminate, I wouldn't want to make it cockeyed. I would want, the way this is it's got the larger in the center and then two of the same size here and then one of each a little bit smaller size. So if you needed a substantially smaller bracelet, I would remove these two smaller guys at the end, and if it was a tad too small doing that, then I would just add a couple extra jump rings on each end to make that work, to be the appropriate length. So you just kind of have to play around with that. Also, the clasp, I've got a demo on the Artisan's Workshop page on how to make this clasp. If you don't know how to do that, it's a short one. It's maybe 5 minutes long at the most of how to make that clasp. And I've also made this on many demos that I've done so far. And hey, by the way, it's been a whole year since I've been doing these demos. It's hard to believe, a whole year. It's like 43 or 44 demos that I've done, and it just kind of it amazes me. I'm happy to do these each week. I think I only missed 1 week out of a whole year, which is pretty good. Maybe 2, but I think only 1. But I got to keep coming up with stuff if I continue doing this. But anyway, yeah, I just thought that was kind of amazing that it's been going on a year. So anyway, this is the Gemstone Trio, guys. I hope that I covered enough that you understand, how to do this. But I'm always around if you have any additional questions. For you guys that got kits, if you have any difficulty with your assembling, just let me know. If anybody wants a kit, you can let me know. I can still make some up if you want, but I'm not going to go through it unless I know somebody wants them. But I still have enough materials to make them. So next week we're going to work on coin jewelry. And I'm going to show you a few pieces. I put them aside here so I can show you some of this stuff. Oh, Wendy, you're welcome. I sure hope you and Natalie get your kits. And like I said, if you don't, then I'll send you some more kits. So the postal service in Canada, I guess, is a mess. So hopefully they'll come through. All right, so let me put the camera down here. I'll show you some stuff that I've made with the coins. I posted this. Oh, I made extra components, I guess. I put them in the same bag. Forgot about that. Okay. More. Okay, this is the buffalo nickel and Indian head penny necklace with the frou-frou balls that I mentioned. Okay, so that's one idea. This is these are the buffalo nickel earrings with turquoise. And Mercury dimes, the head of the Greek god Mercury. These dimes are 90% silver, so they're kind of cool. And where's the other earring? Oh, it's right here. So those are the Mercury dime earrings and bracelet. And then this is a world coin bracelet put on a simple 2-in-2 chainmail bracelet base with some copper beads interspersed, which is kind of fun. It is kind of jingle jangly. Value not much for the world coins. You can get them on eBay for sure. You might be able to get some on Etsy. You should not have to pay a lot for these world coins. They should be relatively inexpensive. The Mercury dimes and the Buffalo Head nickels, you're going to pay more for. I would say the Buffalo nickels and probably the Indian Head pennies are probably going to be around $2 a piece to buy them. If you can have some correspondence with whoever you buy them from, try to ask for copies that aren't worn out very much. You should be able to read the entire date on the coin. A lot of places will sell you the coins, but they're so worn you can't really tell what they were. And that's not any fun. You want to be able to see the outlines of the Indian head in the headdress and the buffalo. So you want to be able to see that. And the same with, otherwise it's just like any other silver disc almost. But the coolness is because, they were actually old coins. There is not any value really in the buffalo nickels as far as silver content. There isn't any. So you should not pay, I would say, I think I said $2 before, but I think more like $1 a nickel, something like that, would be in an appropriate price range to pay for a nickel. And make sure you're not buying the coins that people collect, that have value in their certain dates, their mints. They have certain characteristics that set them apart from the normal jewelry. So you want to save those for the collectors, the coin collectors. Plus, it would make it unaffordable to get like 6 or 8 of them to make a piece with. So, I punched these holes with, I used a drill. I have a small drill press, and I will show you when we do this next week, I will show you how I set that up, because the 2-hole punches, you'll break them. You can go through the dimes without problem, but for the nickels and some of these world coins, you need a drill. So, it's totally doable. You just have to have the right tools to do that. So, so that's what's planned for next week, guys. If it's something that interests you and you want to buy some coins, I would check out eBay and Etsy. I got my Indian Head pennies on Etsy. I didn't realize that they sold coins on Etsy, but I guess they sell everything these days. So I don't know what I did with my instructions. Oh, no. I think I have the resource listed. Honestly, where can stuff go? It was just here. There must be gremlins in here. Anyway, I will have a handout for you guys shortly in the group that you can print if you want with today's stuff. I will also see about putting on the group a post where I got the coins from on Etsy. The guy was very nice. You know, it says on there random pick, you know, that they're going to pick whatever, you know, whichever ones you want. And I said, well, I want 10, but I want 10 that are decent, you know, and I'm sure that everybody wants that. And somebody's got to get the ones that aren't so great. But I told the guy what I was using them for, and he sent me some nice ones. So I was pleased. I gave him a good review. I was pleased that that I got decent ones. You know, they're not perfect. They could have been better, but then they probably would be more valuable as a collector item. So I'm hoping that I covered everything. Yeah, I cleaned all these world coins in the tumbler. I used a squirt of Dawn dishwashing liquid in the tumbler and tumbled them probably for a couple of hours. They were really grimy, and they came out really nice. So that's something to consider. I mean, you know, this stuff's not for everybody, but you know, there's a fair amount of people that like this stuff. So I figure I'm gonna go ahead and present it and, you know, take it for whatever it's worth to you. So, all right, I'm going to go jingle jangle. Ooh, my flab. All right, guys, thanks for joining me. I always appreciate you being here with me, and I shall see you in the group. If you have any questions, just message me. And of course, as always, if you make this stuff, please post it and share it with everybody. I enjoy when people share their work on the page. And keep in mind about the potential giveaway at 1,000 membership. All right? Okay, guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.